Here we are, back with another video. What we're going to be trying to do this go around is mate this motor with that transmission with the parts we went over before and put it into here. Seems simple enough, but nothing ever goes as planned. And with any type of luck, I'm also going to see where the stock 350Z transmission mount lines up on the inside of the car and see if it'll be possible for me to just modify the chassis to use that bracket or that mount, because I'd much rather do that than try to make something work like welding brackets and yada yada yada. Be a lot easier to drill a few holes, put like some reinforcement on the chassis and bolt it there. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's start getting things put together. So we now have the motor mounts on. As you can see, they went on rather smoothly. I had one problem on the other side where apparently there was some gunk in the threads or something like that. But this is why I'm learning test fitting is a good idea. I had read that pretty much you could flip the exhaust manifolds from stock and they bolt up, which they do. But I kind of figured in my own head that, because I didn't really look very close, so I was just going, oh, it'll be fine. This, if I recall, alternator sits about here, so I don't think that quite works. So this would probably have to be cut and turned up or something. I am not really 100% sure, so I'm going to have to figure this out, because this one, well, okay, maybe make something work. This one, you also would have to make something work. This is pressing pretty damn tight against the oil filter mount. So I'm guessing I would have to either relocate this or, again, replace, like cut this up and turn it or something. But I don't know. I'm going to have to look at what other people have done to figure out if I want to copy someone or, well, no matter what, I'm probably going to be copying someone just because that's how things go. But I'm either going to modify these, flip them upward, or get a log style manifold where I can then just like put the mounting plate. Because what I want to do is kind of like on the FRSs, on the turbo kits. I want to have these connect and have a mount for the turbo somewhere in this vicinity, like center, maybe a little up, no higher than the engine, but have these meet up and join. And I'm just not quite sure how I'm going to do it. This is all new to me, so if anyone has any good recommendations or a good video that shows someone modifying these, because I'm guessing it might be a little easier just to make my own manifold, but I don't know. Anyways, also, these are on, so I can actually lift the engine. There's no hooks. I still cannot find any hooks for this. Looks like they would mount right around here. I have one bolt in there, but I can't bring myself to lift the engine by one bolt here and one bolt over there. So I'm going to yank it the same way I did out of the Lexus. Strap under here, hook up to that thing. So we'll be back with that thing off of the engine hoist. La-di-da. Now we have the engine kind of sitting on a hoist and a dolly. First thing I've done, install the adapter plate. Initial opinion or perception or some word of this is good. The bolts are nice. They were 17 and 19. You have 19 millimeter here, then like 17s there. All went in fairly well, minus like 2 of them that I had to spray some deep creep into just to kind of flush them out. And I did have to tap these on with a rubber mallet because the dowel pins on the block right under there. Yeah. So I just had to kind of tap them in. Everything seemed fine. Next up, we got this thing. Please don't drop. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and just remove this thingy here. It looks like it's simply 4 bolts. I'm guessing this will slide out, because here's the boot. There might be, I'll find out if that's relevant. We'll start with these 4, see if this just slides out. So yeah, be right back yet again. Well, I got halted for the moment. I did remove these bolts. They're just kind of hand tight right now. Nothing special. Well, there we go, hand tight. But did want to ask a question, or just, I don't think anyone will answer, but still puzzled me. So there's this bracket right here. Pretty beefy looking. I mean, it's not exactly thin metal. This thing was in the way of 1 bolt. All 3 of them were easy to get to. This thing was right here. You know what its sole purpose was? Or at least on the surface, its sole purpose was that little clip right there, or the tie down, to hold this thing. I'm really hoping this thing just, like, maybe there's a weak point in the transmission there or something, so they, you know, made a plate to kind of make it nice and sturdy. I don't know. But either way, I digress, or ramble, or whatever. So apparently I need to get a dowel pin punch or something for right there. Apparently there's 2 pins in there. You knock out one, you knock out the other, then this will dislocate. And that's what I want to do. So with tomorrow being New Year's, I'm guessing most things are going to be open. So I will be going out tomorrow and hopefully finding some dowel pin punches. Wish me luck, and I'll be back. And we're back. No more shifters sitting on the transmission. It was just, there's 2 dowel pins. Let's see if I can get slightly better lighting there. 2 dowel pins going through that hole, or pins or something. This is what they look like. This one was in that one. And for the tools needed, I went to Lowe's. Got a pin punch set, which is these things right here. Lowe's, Irwin brand. They worked, so who am I to say anything? Now, let's make that one hug that one. We'll be right back. Oh, we got the first hiccup with trying to use this Collins adapter kit. I've spent like 30, 40 minutes trying to get things aligned. And I finally hit the point where I'm like, okay, let me loosely put these things together. So got 2 bolts in there just to kind of align it with where the plate says it should be. And let's see if we can get any light. Probably not. Either way, you have a pin right there. You should see it, an alignment pin or a dowel pin or whatever the hell they're called. The hole for it is up here. Now, well, I can't get that angle. On both sides, this side and the other side over there, yoink. The pins are lower than where the transmission alignment is. So I'm going to contact them, also separate this and look at, you know, is it going to be really that hard to just to knock the pin out and maybe put it somewhere else? I don't know. All the other holes are threaded, so I am just not quite sure. And I don't want to just go start doing shit. So yeah, we'll be back. Decided I didn't feel like calling or waiting for this anyway. Here's the dowel pins. Here's where they were. That one, and I believe over here was the other one. They needed to be in that and that. But as far as I remember or know, usually dowel pins or whatever they're called are used for alignment. I can get this aligned apparently with 2 bolts, at least for now. I might try and fit those dowel things in later by just cooking this, throwing those in the freezer. But for now, since we're just trying to meet them together so I can test fit it in the car, I don't want them. So yeah, we'll be back with everything together. Hooray! Failed attempt number 1. The issue was I had the front of the car jacked up way too high. So to get the headers to clear, I have to lower the car back down. And I kind of want to keep the headers on while installing it to see what other clearance issues there'll be. I mean, yeah, I could still just remove them and try to install them later, but this is what I want to do. So let's keep going. Quick intermission with one of the kids. We ran it. I was trying to leave the little radiator mount here, but that just took up more room. That was hindering us. I'm hoping that's all that was hindering us. But this was held on by 2 bolts, just right on the back end. I knew I should have probably removed it, but I didn't earlier. And another hiccup we might be having, I've seen some people, or I could have swore I'd seen some people saying they'd done a swap and kept the booster thing. I don't know if I think that's going to happen.
I feel like we can get it there.
So if this gets in the way, we'll be pulling it back out and just gutting everything else in the engine bay. If not, well, then who knows? You'll see. Failed attempt number 2.
I can't feel my fingers.
When I'm with you.
Shut up.
So, what we found, and it was just hoping I didn't have to do a bunch of shit, but I do. We're hitting the cross member right there, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably hit this too.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I think people on the internet were right, or the ones who said you didn't need to remove the booster were wrong. I'm going to do some research, but judging by how far in we got the engine, the mounts were sitting here, give or take, in comparison to there where the actual mounts
It's
are.
a little lower, but yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere in here. But you see this gap, and we were pressing just about up against this. So even with, if we leveled it out, I do think we were going to hit that. And also, food for thought or learning situation, I think I'm going to have to take the exhaust off and see if I can install them with the engine in the car, which is probably a good idea anyway. I'm not sure if I can use those, but I also have them on there to lift the engine, which brings us to the third point, or fifth, or 10th, or whatever. I need hooks. I need the hooks that go here. I need the hooks that go there. So then that way can use the leveler to, actually, instead of it just drooping its ass like this when trying to put it in, could actually level it out.
To tilt it correctly, yeah.
Yeah, tilting it correctly would probably help a lot, but I wanted to try and get this damn thing in. That failed today.
Yeah.
So, with that said, let's see when I come back with attempt number 3. Hopefully not too long. Boom. Another day, and maybe a little more progress to be made. To be made. English, well, American, I speak it. So, here's where we're at. I removed the brake booster and the brake master, just sitting down there. This was kind of easy except for contorting yourself to get under the dash. There's 4 bolts on the inside of the car holding the booster in, and there are 2 bolts out here holding the master in. So removed those, made a mess. I tried to mark lines so I'd remember which line went where, and my paint pen decided it was too excited to do this job and just spilled everywhere. We also got this removed, battery tray. I may have mangled some metal, but I'll probably just do some little spot welds, fill in, something like that. And the last thing, we're changing the straps to try and give me, I just realized I'm gonna have to flip this around, but that's besides the point, I think. Anyway, trying to do straps this way so we have some adjustment this way, so we don't have to keep finagling to try and put it in there. I was able to find the OEM hooks, but they're coming from Australia. So it might be a little bit before I have them, but I'm okay with that because I eventually just want them, because this engine is going to have to come out probably multiple times just in this test fitting process, let alone when I decide to start changing things or the inevitable blow up the engine. So let's just put this thing over here. Let's hope the third time's a charm. Let's go. Failed attempt number 3. Just judging by my quick little observations while I kept trying to refit it in there, it looks like the last thing that might be in my way is this. So I'm going to try and remove that. It looked like I would get past the cross member with the bottom of the bell housing and adapter, but part of the bell housing was getting caught here while the top of the transmission was pressed against there. So I'm thinking, depends. I mean, if I remove this and it goes in pretty smooth, that means going forward, anytime engine has to come out, that's going to have to come out. Who knows? I mean, maybe I'll change the steering later, but I'm hoping I don't have to. I'd like to actually just use the gearbox because I plan on going electric steering, which just would attach at the base there. But that's a whole nother ball game. So I'm going to remove that thing real quick, and then we will get back to trying to fit this oversized engine into an itty bitty car. As you can see, there is no more steering linkage. I ended up having to disconnect the inner tie rod that was connected to the bar here to have enough room to disconnect, I'm guessing it's just linkage, to these. So, and the other reason I'm going to show this little tidbit is I had to buy a tool. If I remember where the hell I put it. Please, yep, I did. Got this from Harbor Freight. It's a like ball joint remover or whatever. That thing. Because, yeah, I did not have a tool to be able to get in there and pry them out. My little Pitman battery ran out, short and skinny. Needed a new tool to remove that linkage. So let's see if the motor will fit in now. Well, I feel 4 failures in one video is enough. Turns out I'm going to need to see if I can find any info. When I've looked before, I haven't seen a lot of info on what people had to do to make the engine fit in a TE chassis like that still has the gearbox. Well, I haven't seen a whole lot in general of showing fitting these engines into this chassis. So I'm going to look, see if I can maybe find something, because I have looked before, but just didn't find a whole lot. Just a lot of, hey, this fits. The problem I'm running into now is the exhaust studs on that thing. The first stud on the very far back of the engine is hitting this, and I am not sure if I'm going to need to find a different steering solution to make this work. With that, I figured out I probably should just remove the sway bar and that plate, because it looks like the oil pan might hit this. Figure probably simple enough just to remove it, take it out of the equation, see what happens. It seems so freaking close. The other thing, I think I got confirmation today that trying to save money and just flipping the headers and doing a turbo that way is not going to work, because it looks like this is going to go way too far out and it will hit the steering box or the gearbox, whatever. So I'm going to end up dismantling some things, maybe make it a little easier to get the engine in and out until I can actually get it situated in the car. So that's where I'm at. No real progress made in this video besides taking things apart. But if any of you have any experience with this or have some knowledge, feel free to leave it in the comments because I'll take any info anyone has. With that said, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share if you feel inclined. Have a good day. Bye-bye.